Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Big Life Podcast. I'm Leah Klinke.
And I'm Kate Phillips, and we're so excited for you guys to be here today for episode 14 and can't wait for you guys to meet our special guest that we have today.
Yes, so first let's start off with just how our games went this past week. Kate, how did yours go?
They were fine. We played A&M on, oh my gosh, it seems so long ago, Thursday, and we ended up losing 2-1. It was up to a penalty, which is so unfortunate.
Hmm.
We scored a penalty also in the first half, and then they got a penalty in the second half, which is just like so frustrating.
Yeah,
And
dang.
then we played a really good game on Sunday against Arkansas, really hard fought. We ended up tying 0-0, which, I mean, Arkansas is a hard team to stop. Um, but we kind of just matched them up and like played their style of play better than them. We were gritty, winning first and second balls. But yeah, they have like, I didn't know this, but they have a lot of people out right now as well. So it'll be interesting how everything shakes out with
Hmm.
them.
Yeah,
Because
that's a
they're a
that's a
good.
great result against them. I feel like, yeah, are they at the top of the SEC or how's that looking?
I don't know. I actually haven't looked because it's like everywhere right now because Vanderbilt ended up beating Tennessee
I saw that.
2-0. Yeah, 2-0, which I think Vanderbilt is gonna go really far in the tournament. And honestly, I think they might be. I would probably put on them winning the SEC tournament. They are a really, really good team. And like from the other teams that we've played, I mean, we haven't played Oklahoma, they've been pretty good this year. Um, Alabama's kind of been everywhere. Like a lot of the SEC teams, it's like been like up and down and up and down. Like a
Yeah.
lot also with injuries as well, is that
Hmm.
what I've been seeing.
Yeah. So
So
up and down, yeah.
the Vanderbilt really hasn't. Like they've kind of had their core group and like their style of play is really
Hmm.
good, great possession team.
Hmm.
So it'll be interesting because Vandy, yeah, beat them, and then Mississippi State had lost, so they moved down. Like it's everywhere. In Arkansas, yeah, tied us. I don't know. I think Vandy might be up. I don't know. I haven't looked at it, but Vandy might be pretty high. I think Arkansas was number one. But yeah, it's
Gotcha.
interesting. It's kind of
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like especially now, it's like we're towards the end of the regular season now, so teams are like really fighting to qualify for these tournaments now and like make their best case so that they can try to get into NCAAs as well.
Yeah,
So yeah,
definitely.
I feel like definitely anything can happen in these last few games. Like one of the games I watched this weekend was Stanford FSU, and that was such a good game.
Yeah.
Stanford ended up winning 2-1 against FSU at FSU. So um, that
I
was
also,
it was a fun game to watch. We had like a few people over and we watched this game at our house. So that
yeah.
was
I
yeah.
also saw Louisville had tied Virginia 1-1.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
results even for like ACC stuff is like looks like it's everywhere. I mean, you
Yeah,
guys
it
are in a
is
great
everywhere.
spot, but
Yeah, yeah. Louisville's like an underrated team, but they have a good team this year and they're doing good and like pulling out good results, yeah, like against Virginia. Um, but yeah, and my team, Notre Dame, we didn't have a game this past week. So we've been training and just resting a lot too and giving our bodies some time to just breathe and we had like a team trip to Chicago. We went shopping and had brunch, so like that was fun. So it's been nice to kind of get away from soccer for a few days and then we're coming back and training hard for this next week of games that we have and we're traveling to play Virginia Tech and Wake Forest. So those are our next two ones this upcoming week. Who do you guys play this week?
we play Auburn on Sunday.
Oh,
Yeah, just
nice.
one game.
Nothing Thursday,
Um,
yeah.
how is your guys' trip gonna like end up being? Like you guys are going to Virginia Tech and then from there you're going to Wake Forest?
Yeah, so we leave on Wednesday and we're flying to Virginia Tech and then we'll play Virginia Tech on Thursday. And then Friday morning, we'll drive to Wake Forest, which is only like 2 hours. I didn't realize that. Only 2 hours. Then we'll be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Um, and we'll come back late Sunday night after our game.
Hmm.
But yeah, so this is like our, well, first off, Notre Dame, we're on fall break right now, so we have a whole week off of school, which is really nice. So we're not missing any school, and usually what happens to work out is we plan like our big one of our big trips on this weekend so that we can go spend Thursday through Sunday on the East Coast and play two teams there. So we usually have a fall break trip, and this time we're playing Virginia Tech and Wake. And they're both two like middle of the ACC teams right now, but like super good teams, super talented. A
Hmm.
lot of good attacking players on both those other teams. So we're preparing for battle and we're ready to hopefully get some big wins away. So that's the goal. But we're excited. I think when we're there, we're gonna do a lot of like team bonding things and maybe go see like a movie with everyone. There's like some movie out that everyone wants to see. And just a bunch of downtime with the team and we don't really have work. So it'll be a fun trip. I'm excited to go.
Yeah, that's really nice that they do your guys' long trips on fall break. Like,
Yeah.
then you're not having to deal with school and being gone for like that many days is actually like really stressful.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it is nice. And like this is our the only time we've had to do like one of these like 4 night trips this whole year. And so it's over fall break. So it's really nice for us for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're not just like sitting back at school and like having nothing to do. Everyone's gone and back home. So it's kind of a vacation, I guess.
Work trip.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Work trip, more like that.
That's what my parents used to call like when we would go to tournaments and stuff. They're like, it's like a work trip.
Yeah. No, it is. Yeah.
Well, we're really excited for you guys to get to hear from our guest. So we're gonna bring her on. Hey guys, so today we have Keegan Good. Keegan is a senior midfielder here at the University of Missouri. She's from Parkville, Missouri, and is a health science major, and she's wanting to become a plastic surgeon. Keegan has been an amazing leader for us here at Mizzou, has been an engine in our midfield. She was named to the 2025 SEC preseason players to watch list, earned spots on the SEC academic honor roll in 2024 and 2023. And Keegan, I'm so excited for you to be on today. So why don't you start off and tell us a little bit about your soccer journey and how you got to Mizzou?
Yeah, so my soccer journey was a little bit non-traditional. I played club for a team that wasn't ECNL or GA. We were kind of all over the place. I think we played NPL. I don't even know the names of the other leagues there, but maybe MRL was one of them. It was Legends in Kansas City, and I kind of stayed with that team because I loved my club coach there. Her name's Jen Biskowski, and she played at Notre Dame in college. She was really knowledgeable, and I also played volleyball through high school. So that was part of a reason why I didn't pursue a higher level club team. But I was on that team from probably sixth grade on, and my recruiting journey was also different just because I wasn't really getting recruited at showcases or anything. So it was more me reaching out to coaches, having my club coach reach out to coaches, and I think that her name kind of carried a lot of weight and probably was like a main factor in actually getting recruited at the ID camps. But yeah, I mainly just went to ID camps at schools and actually Mizzou, I went to an ID camp and that's how I got recruited there.
Yeah, I think that's also a testament to like younger players that obviously ECNL and GA are so big right now with like recruiting. I mean, you have college coaches on the sidelines at every single like showcase and a lot of games too, but that you can like still get recruited on your MRL team or whatever. And connections are a huge thing also, I think, with recruiting, like you were saying.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what made you choose the University of Missouri and kind of what stood out at Mizzou?
Yeah. First of all, like just it being one of my few options. I wasn't like having my pick of the litter, but I think what stood out to me about Mizzou is that I was always kind of wanting to go D1. I wasn't sure if I was good enough to, but I liked the idea of a rebuild, and there was a new coaching staff, and I think I kind of wanted to buy into that. And I kind of saw it as a place where I could see myself playing. Steph had told me that she didn't really redshirt people intentionally or use that. So I liked the idea of being able to earn a spot on the field right away. And initially, I wanted to go far from home, but I think as the time got closer to actually decide on a college, it was more comfortable to stay 2 hours away from home. And in the end, like I'm glad that I did. And it's cool to be able to play for my home state.
Yeah. Could you walk us through your freshman and sophomore year a little bit and like kind of what that transition was like coming into college?
Yeah, so freshman year, I think I was pleasantly surprised with how I was able to compete with everyone and earn a spot on the field pretty early on. It wasn't 90 minutes by any means, but I was getting consistent minutes for a freshman, and I think that that was exceeded my expectations for myself. So I think freshman year was great, and then sophomore year was a little bit of a wake-up call and humbling, and it was a little bit more up and down with playing time. And there was some games where I'd be playing 0 minutes or 5, 10 minutes, and then the next game I'd play 70 minutes. And I think it was kind of a tough season for me. And in the end, definitely made me a stronger player, and I think gave me a new perspective on college soccer. And I think probably made me a better leader in the end because I was able to relate to the younger players who are going through that too. So
Yeah. How do you like deal with, I guess, that like flow of like sometimes you're playing, sometimes you're not? Like, I think that's pretty hard, like for a lot of people, like mentally. How do you deal with that?
yeah, I think it's easier said than done. But I kind of would just focus on working hard every day and trying to get better. Sophomore year was hard for me because it felt like there wasn't a lot of tactical things that were specifically told to me for what I could be doing better to get on the field. So I feel like that's challenging as a player when you don't necessarily have something specific to work on to actually get onto the field. But I think in the end, just knowing that I was trying my best every day was something that I could go to bed at night. And once I kind of decided to stop doing things to try to appeal to coaches and just playing my game, I think that that's when my career kind of took a turn. And I'm just kind of playing for myself and trying to take coaching points as they came. But other than that, just focusing on my own game.
Yeah. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the academic side. When did you decide that you wanted to go pre-med route? And then how did the coaches kind of react to that? Because some coaches are against that, but obviously we have a lot of people that are pre-med now on our team. Can you kind of walk us through that?
Yeah, so I came into college knowing that I wanted to be pre-med, so it wasn't a decision that I really had to introduce to the coaches as a player. It was part of my recruiting process, and they were receptive to it at Mizzou. That was also part of the reason why I chose Mizzou, is that they were supportive of people pursuing difficult academic degrees while playing college soccer, and that wasn't necessarily the case at all the schools that I was looking at. Uh, but I think I think that Mizzou also does a really good job of balancing student and athlete. Like we have Medleats, which is pre-med athletes club, which was really helpful early on, and having older girls to look up to. Like Ashlyn was pre-med and kind of taking the same classes as me, so I think that was really helpful early on.
Yeah. You said that you wanted to specifically go into plastic surgery. Why plastic surgery? And how did you kind of like come up with that?
Yeah, I think I realized that about maybe maybe my junior or senior year of high school, especially senior year, I was really into ceramics. And I originally had thought I wanted to do anesthesiology, just I think that was just me being kind of young and like what makes a lot of money. But but then I really discovered a passion for ceramics, and I've always really loved artistic outlets. And I think I kind of realized that plastic surgery combines medicine and artistry, and I think I really like that. I also do like the lifestyle that it offers, and I think it kind of just could serve as a creative outlet and also improving people's lives is obviously a great thing.
Yeah. Were you able to meet like a plastic surgeon or like shadow or something and be like, yes, this is exactly what I want to do? Or was it just like the thought of like being able to use your creative side in medicine?
Yeah, it was actually more the thought until recently I shadowed a plastic surgeon for the first time. It took me a while to actually get connected with one just because I feel like we are, especially as athletes, more surrounded by orthopedic surgeons, and that's been a lot of my shadowing experience, which I do like orthopedic surgery, but I think it was more the idea of it and like watching other surgeries and some of my favorite parts were like the sutures at the end, which is kind of every surgeon's least favorite part. They're like, let the residents do it or whatever. So it was like, I think that that kind of was a hint to me, but I didn't actually get to watch plastic surgery until about a year ago. And it was like, yeah, I like this.
How does taking pre-med classes work with like the soccer schedule? And then what are your kind of like study tips or organization tips for those looking to go into that field as well?
Yeah, balancing pre-med schedule is definitely difficult. But at the same time, I think I would encourage young student athletes who are academically driven that it's definitely possible and it turned out to be not easier than I thought, but definitely attainable. And I think also the resources that you were provided as student athletes, like tutors, definitely helped me through my chemistry classes and uh, I make a lot of to-do lists. I keep reminders on my phone, put everything in my calendar. I think that that helps me stay organized. But in the end, I think if you're motivated to do something and you have a passion for it, I think you'll find a way.
Yeah, I think Mizzou also does a great job on like making sure we stay on top of everything. And our team has we're very big on grades and having a good GPA. And each year we even get a higher GPA, and it's absurd how high it's
Yeah,
gotten this past year.
it's insane.
But I think that like having people around you too that are like making sure that you're on top of everything, and we obviously have so many people that can help. So like reaching out and making sure that you're actually using that to your benefit is huge. And I mean, you definitely have used that
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
You talked a little bit about like liking crafts and stuff. What do you like to do outside of soccer in school?
I like to do my nails. That's a big thing for me. I just redid mine recently. They're kind of like a brown chromey. I don't know. I like to do my nails. I was really into air dry clay over the summer, like last summer, but it's kind of messy, so I haven't done it here in Columbia. I like to paint and kind of just like make stuff to put on my wall. My walls are like, well, not my wall behind me, but the wall behind my computer is like full of stuff. And I don't know, just honestly like anything, like painting, drawing, just whatever. It's kind of like I did gem painting for a while. I like to go through phases.
Yeah, we talk a lot about like just having something outside of soccer that's like easy to, I don't know, decompress and not
Mhm.
be thinking about soccer. And I know that you love crafting, so
Yeah, it is definitely nice to be able to just focus my energy on something else that's not like school or soccer. It's just like something mindless that you can kind of get lost in for a little bit.
mhm. Could you talk a little bit about your schedule for your junior spring? I know you're studying for the MCAT while also dealing with spring soccer, which is a ton, like a lot. It's a lot. And then school. Could you just talk about a little bit about that?
Yeah, that was dark times for sure. I think also part of it was that with the pre-med curriculum, you try to get in all of your hard science classes before you take the MCAT. So I took the MCAT at the end of May, and I was taking physiology honors and physics 2 and biochem, which was a rough schedule class-wise just on its own. But I think I struggled early on in the semester with burnout, trying to do too much, like studying for the MCAT, I got like a big thing of books and I was like, okay, I'm gonna read one book a week. And then it took me like 2 or 3 weeks to get through the first book. And I was like, oh God. And it just like took a toll on me. And it took me a second to like be nice to myself and kind of let myself go through it at my own pace and like in my own way. Um, I think for when I think back on that semester, it was difficult because I went into it thinking like I could dedicate all this time to the MCAT in school and then also like I wanted to grow so much with soccer too. So it was tough to realize that I couldn't like pour myself into all these like buckets. I had to kind of pick and choose like what I was gonna spend my time doing. And I kind of had to dial back a little bit on what I was giving to soccer, which was hard because I feel like most of my time at Mizzou has been so soccer focused. So it was a little bit different and kind of an adjustment. But I will say, like, I started going to therapy and I feel like that helped a lot, like, just coping with things and being able to talk to someone who's kind of removed from all of it. It was definitely helpful. But overall, it was definitely a lot, but not unbearable.
Yeah. When did you kind of like, I guess, notice that it was becoming too much and then was like, I need to like do something like mental, like for my mental health?
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of times you can put that off until obviously it kind of like blows up a little bit, but like when did you notice
Yeah.
that and decide, oh,
Yeah,
maybe,
I think it kind of started to blow up a little bit, even before I decided to do anything about it. It was probably like a month into spring semester, and we were still in 8 hours too. So that was also kind of a sign to me where it was like, okay, like it's only going to get worse if we keep going at the pace that we're going. But I was kind of like crying after practice every day. And I also had like some like random muscular injuries. Like I strained my groin doing a three-way stretch one day, and that just pissed me off too. So it was kind of one of those things where I kind of noticed it affecting me at practice, and I wasn't able to compartmentalize and kind of dedicate like, okay, this is school time, this is soccer time. It was like I was just thinking all the time about how I should be studying for the MCAT, and it was just overwhelming. But I think it took me about a month to really like come to terms with the fact that what I was doing was not working for me.
yeah. And I think it's like awesome that you're like notice that and we're like, okay, I need to do something about it because a lot of people can like put that off and then you put your mental health on the back burner and then have all these other things and then it becomes it crashes down. But
Yeah, I think it was definitely like, I mean, another testament to Mizzou, like looking out for us. Miranda like made sure I got to therapy.
yeah,
She was like, yeah, Kim's gonna be reaching out to you. So that was like nice to have someone who was kind of on my side with that too.
yeah. Miranda's our trainer. She's
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
She always looks out for us.
Yes.
Moving a little ahead, could you talk a little bit about what you did last summer and then um just like yeah, talk about your internship and kind of like deciding to go to Minnesota and everything.
Yeah, that was so I decided I think it was either like right when spring semester started or early, it was early on, and I was really on the fence about it just because it was so out of my comfort zone. Like I love my summer team at home in Kansas City, and summer is such a valuable time for us too, I feel like, because we're dedicating so much time here at Mizzou, so it's nice to be able to use those breaks to kind of decompress. And I think I kind of just my New Year's resolution was like say yes to things. And I was like, okay, well, I can't say that that's my New Year's resolution and say no to this amazing opportunity at the Mayo Clinic that kind of fell into my lap. Like, honestly, the soccer team up in Rochester, which is where the Mayo Clinic is, they had DM'd me and reached out to our old assistant coach, Dima, and he was talking to me about it. And it kind of fell into my lap. So it was something where I was like, okay, this is way too good of an opportunity to pass up, no matter how uncomfortable it might make me. And I ended up staying with a host family up there who was super awesome. They were so nice. And I would go to my internship. I worked with an orthopedic surgeon up there who was also part owner of the soccer team. So he kind of knew our schedule, and I was able to come and go. I wasn't getting paid, so it wasn't like I had to clock in for this amount of hours. Like I was getting class credit for it, so I had to meet a certain amount of hours, but it wasn't anything like too crazy. And we'd go on travel trips for the summer team. And if we got back late, I would be able to go in late the next morning. And I kind of just, I was doing chart reviews for some research projects that they were working on. And I got to look at patient charts and get some data that they needed for that. Or I looked at x-rays and took some measurements on the x-rays and put it in. So it was kind of like tedious work, but I thought it was really interesting. It was like cool to look at patient records and kind of like get that insight, and it felt special. And also just the Mayo Clinic is like such a huge institution, and you can just feel like the energy there. It's like you can just tell that everyone's so dedicated and passionate there, and it was really cool, and it was a really cool opportunity. And I honestly wish I could have stayed up longer. I was like really enjoying it, but obviously we got to come back here and start grinding in July. So.
Um, do you think playing for the summer league team like prepared you for the start of the season, or kind of how was that?
Yeah, I think it did. I think playing soccer, period, helps, like no matter the level. I think like technically my summer team in Kansas City might have been like a higher level. I think that also just Kansas City soccer is pretty good. So I did miss the level of play of my Kansas City team, but I think kind of soccer is just whatever you put into it, because I could show up to my practices in Kansas City and kind of 50% in, go in, clock out, and just go and chill by the pool all day. Or I could go up in Rochester and give everything I had on the day. And it might not be the highest level of soccer, but you're getting something out of it in the end. And I think also it was just a fulfilling experience. So I think it did prepare me, maybe not necessarily like the most technically, but I think it was still like productive.
Yeah. I mean, you obviously had a great opportunity and
Yeah. And we
you
were playing against good competition, and like that team's still pretty young in the USL. And
Mhm.
uh yeah, so I think they'll be better moving forward, and it's the first year that they've really focused on kind of recruiting outside of Minnesota. So I'm sure the level will keep raising. But it was good to play against like Chicago teams and stuff. Like that was something new for me.
Yeah. I love this. I love summer league. It's always fun playing against new
Yeah.
people and everything. Coming into this season, what were your goals kind of, and then what were you hoping to accomplish your senior year?
Yeah, I really just wanted to be present and enjoy every moment. I just really came into this season. I think my initial, like, when I came into the spring, what I wanted to do was enjoy every moment and be as present as possible and get as good as possible. But then obviously I had the MCAT and stuff. And so it kind of got pushed off to this season where it was like, okay, now this is the light at the end of the tunnel, and this is where I can kind of channel all of this pent-up energy that I've had about soccer, and just get as good as I can. And I think that was like a huge thing for me. And I just was feeling like so motivated and so excited about this year, just closing the chapter. And uh, I think my goal for myself was just to get as good as possible and enjoy it as much as I could.
Yeah. So obviously, I don't know, a lot of people listening don't know, but our second SEC home game, Keegan unfortunately went down and tore her ACL. Could you kind of talk about the emotions you were feeling in that moment and just kind of what was going through your head?
Yeah, so when I went down, I knew right away what had happened. It was like my knee completely gave out. And uh, so I knew right away it wasn't kind of something where it was like, okay, maybe this is like, it was like I went down and it was like, it literally felt like the world was crashing down around me. I mean, I was not nonchalant about it at all. I think everyone in that stadium knew what I was feeling. It, I mean, I'll never forget that feeling. I feel like that's the most humbling thing. And it was just crazy. It just felt like everything I had worked for and like everything I had hoped the season would be just was like taken from me in a second. And it was really, really crazy feeling, and just something I'll never forget. Like just it was just like, I mean, I it's like unexplainable, but I hope that I kind of explained it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember like it happening and yeah, you could hear you screaming like right. You were, I mean, kind of right in front of me. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think we kind of knew what had happened and I mean, your role, especially as a leader, obviously you're a captain, very much a vocal leader throughout my past 3 years that I've been here. Your leadership role kind of shifted a little bit with having to be on the sidelines and your injury. Kind of like how are you approaching that now and I mean the past couple of games
Yeah.
you've had?
Yeah, I think it was really hard for me because I do have like so much love and passion for this team, like even beyond my own play. So I think going down and having to process like that happening to me while also like your guys' season was carrying on, and I kind of voiced this in one of our team meetings, but it like really hurt to feel kind of disconnected. Like all of a sudden you're kind of isolated and everything's different and you're not traveling with the team and I can't like prove anything on the field. Like I can't just show up and work hard and lead by example that way. It was definitely a lot different. And then like I think it took me a second to kind of find my voice again and like be able to go back to leading kind of the way that I was before because I think it just took me a second to process like how to even do that when I had all these emotions and thoughts running through my head. And then right when I feel like I got to that point, I had surgery. And then and
Yeah.
then I feel like that set me back again because I was kind of away from you guys for a little bit and then obviously like dealing with post-op and rehab and stuff. And I think it was also hard just like seeing us kind of struggling to get results on the field and that's it's like hard as someone who's not on the field anymore to try to either motivate people or know the right things to say because you really can there's only a certain level that you can know beyond like being on the field and that's something that I hadn't really had to deal with for a long time. It was like I was getting consistent minutes and I always kind of knew what the vibes were on the field, so it was like a lot different trying to navigate that, not exactly knowing like where your guys' heads were at, especially when you guys would be traveling. It was just difficult for me to try to speak to you guys like in a way that was productive because I wasn't sure if I was like sending the right messages or what. Like, I don't know. It was definitely an adjustment. And I don't know. I hope that you guys kind of like knew that I was always trying to, or I am always trying to act in your guys' best interests. And I always want the best for this team. But it was definitely an adjustment.
Yeah. I mean, I think all of us knew kind of like where you were at just because, I mean, nobody can imagine what you're going through and soccer's done and it, I mean, I can't even imagine it like what you were going through in that moment. But I think you've done everything right up until this point and given everything that you've had and I don't think you should be upset or like thinking back like, oh, did I do the right thing? Because I mean, you have and you've given everything. And as a leader, you've done what you can, even when you can't really give anything else, you've done everything. So don't be hard on yourself with that because
Thanks for that. I feel like it's hard to kind of gauge like sometimes people don't know the right things to say to me too. And I know how that feels. I mean, Elena went through her injury twice and I know how it feels to not know the right things to say to someone. So I know that like a lot of people were probably feeling that same thing and um yeah, I appreciate that.
yeah, of course. What has your recovery process been like? What you said you're almost 4 weeks out? Is
Yeah,
that
I think I'm like 3.5-ish right now.
yeah. So what has your recovery been like physically and then kind of mentally so far?
Yeah, I think the first like 10-ish days were really hard mentally just because I was in so much pain. And I think it was I had shoulder surgery my freshman year. So I've had some kind of like internal pain like that, but like nothing compares to just your knee is just such a huge joint in your body. And I think like that kind of caught me off guard. And I was like, okay, is it ever going to stop hurting like this? Like
Yeah.
I was kind of, but then it started getting better. And then amping up the rehab, like, so I had my ACL, MCL, and meniscus repaired. And my MCL kind of limited my range of motion for the first 2 weeks, but I was only able to bend to 30 degrees. So I got cleared to go to 90 degrees after my 2 week follow-up, and I've kind of been working on getting that range of motion back. I was originally only going to be able to go to 60 degrees until 4 weeks, so that's good. Little wins. But yeah, it's been challenging. Like it's just very different. Your knee just doesn't feel like your knee anymore. And my leg, like I'm still kind of working on activating the muscles, and it's a lot different. And I think it was it was a little scary, like going into surgery, like my knee felt super unstable, and it was a weird feeling because you don't really like, I don't know, you're not used to your knee feeling unstable. It's a very weird feeling. But at my follow-up, he kind of moved it around, and that was helpful because I was like, okay, it's not gonna like give out if I take a wrong step or something.
Yeah. Um, so moving a little bit ahead, looking back at your 4 years here at Mizzou, what was your favorite memory you've had so far? Or like, yeah, have had over the past 4 years?
Yeah. I think my favorite memory on the field was definitely my game against KU freshman year, which I peaked way too early and I knew it, but it's fine. But yeah, when I scored 2 goals, made a goal line save, it was like really amazing. And I don't know, I don't think anything will ever top that feeling. And I knew it right after the game. I was like, there's nothing that can beat this.
Um, I was at that game. I remember. Like it was
Really?
like my senior year. Yeah, me. Who was it? Me, Morgan Metter, maybe, and Monica. And it was like so awkward, like our first time meeting each other. And
Oh my
it was an
gosh.
awesome game though. Yeah, we ended up beating KU. What, 2-1? Was it 2-1?
2-1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you ended up scoring the. That second goal was insane. She hit a banger. But yeah. What legacy do you hope that you've left here at Mizzou and then kind of soccer in general?
I think honestly, I just hope that I've kind of inspired people to kind of, first of all, like advocate for themselves. I feel like that's been a huge part of my journey, and I think I hope that I've inspired younger players to stand up for themselves and kind of go, like if you're wondering things, like go ask and be brave in that way. I hope that I've left a good example of how to be a leader, and kind of also like advocating for our team, I feel like has been a huge part of my journey here. And whether that's led to results or not, I've tried. So, but I feel like that's kind of just what I hope continues on, is that people don't just kind of go with the flow and let things slip away without advocating for themselves and the team.
Yeah, I think you've done a great job at that, especially the leader. I said this, but the leadership position, I mean, you've taken over definitely the past 2 years, and it's something all of us are really grateful for just because, I mean, it's paved a path for a lot of us to try and do the same thing. But yeah, thank you on that part. Before we're almost done, what's your like next steps after Mizzou and once you graduate?
Yeah, so I'm currently in the med school application process. So hopefully I will get accepted somewhere, and maybe that means going next fall, or maybe that means deferring a year. Before I got hurt, I was kind of leaning towards taking a gap year and playing overseas. But now I don't know exactly what that looks like. I'm gonna rehab as if I'm returning to play, and maybe that can be something that's in my future, but I'm not completely sure. But med school eventually, and yeah, dot dot dot.
I love that you want to keep playing soccer too.
Yeah, I think my freshman year self would think I'm crazy. It's just like I feel like the end gets a little too real once you're once you're nearing
Yeah,
it.
it really does. And what advice would you give to incoming student athletes, especially those trying to balance a rigorous academic schedule with being a Division I athlete or just an athlete in general?
I think just believe in yourself and work hard every day and don't let time slip away. Like try to be the best you can be as soon as you can. And I think like I look back on my time and I think especially the last 2 years, I really locked in on that. But I think that there was times when I could have dedicated a little bit more to soccer and you always kind of wonder what could have been. So you'll never look back and wish you didn't try as hard. And you'll never look back and be like, I wish I dedicated less time to this. And whether that be school or soccer, either one, like just trying to be the best version of yourself in all of it. And yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I think for a lot of younger athletes also, um, getting caught up in just like being like, I need to do well in soccer, I need to do well in school, or want to just like focusing on one is like it can be easy, but like if you're focusing on both and you're doing well in both, it's gonna help the other. Like,
Yeah.
I just think like being on top of that too and making sure you said how kind of like you keep a schedule and are always on top of your work and whatnot, I think is like huge for young athletes. We've talked about it with different classes and stuff, but just being on top of your work and it's gonna help you in soccer if you're doing well in school.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially for like high schoolers, take AP classes and all the stuff and keep your GPA high because I feel like that was also a huge reason why schools would even look at me like was like my ACT and GPA. Just because that gets you more academic scholarships. So people are more likely to take a chance on you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, coaches love when they don't have to use money on somebody because they're
Yeah.
doing well in school.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming on today, Keegan, and sharing your story. Best of luck with everything ahead. I know you're gonna do amazing things.
Thanks, Kate. I had so much fun. Always a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you. And then thanks for tuning into this episode, everyone. We love hearing from you guys, so reach out on Instagram. And then we'll see you guys next week.